Just missing your audio there. Let's see.
There we go. Alrighty, I think that means that we have some audio now. Thank you so much, Rich, for that. And thank you guys so much for hanging out for the last few minutes. Obviously, as you know, it's technology, and technology happens sometimes, and it doesn't always happen the way that we want it all the time. So thank you guys so much. My name is Patrick Ali.
I'm Cortez.
And we are both the lead educator and one of our graphic designers here with Siser North America. And I think we just kind of need to establish it for them up front, how to say the name. And that's like the number one thing we always open up with. But the name is pronounced Siser. So Siser like the salad. It's actually the combination of the two original founders' names, Simona and Sergio. So the SI comes from one and the SER comes from the other. But Cortez and I are super, super pumped. Not only to show you some really cool things that you can do using StripFlock Pro, which is a great heat transfer material here at Siser, as well as utilizing some electric and then maybe a really fun technique that Cortez has. So what I'm going to actually do is I'm going to turn it over to Cortez. We got a great garment in the back to kind of explain some of what we're going to be learning today. After that, I'm going to hop into software and do my part to kind of show you how to actually set these files up and set up your designs. And then we're going to do a fun application on something that Cortez already has, and he's going to kind of explain the application process as we go. Ready? I'm going to go behind this camera so I can get a good angle on this for you. So bring that one up there, and you can kind of talk through the process as you're going through it.
Yeah. So what we have here is just an array of different colors of the same material in the StripFlock Pro. And these are just all the different patches that you would be able to find in the chenille version of a patch for a Letterman jacket. And again, these are a great alternative. For me, it's a replacement for the chenille patches because one, it takes too much time to order them. You can't really customize them, and they're just too expensive. So why not go with a cheaper, more efficient, cost-efficient option like StripFlock Pro, which you can customize, change any size, get any color, and it does everything you need. Oh yes, and the layering, It's something that you really can't do with Chanel. You probably could, but it will cost you extra, and this is super easy to do, so.
Nice, nice. So all of these products on this actual jacket itself have been layered, whether they're 1, 2, or 3 layers in total. But like Cortez was saying, as you can see, it's very, very simplistic to actually create these, which is what we're going to get into kind of in this class. But also it just allows you to kind of open up the spectrum with the different color array that you get from the different colors of StripFlock Pro, as well as just using a little bit of creativity to kind of create, you know, anything from, like I noticed like the drum down here is the most simplistic form, or we're so used to seeing things like state championships, basketball awards, and you guys know, you guys all have kids in sports, so very excited to kind of explain. So why don't we do this? While I'm going through it in software, why don't you kind of explain the different, like the process of actually setting your file up, and I can kind of flow with you a little bit here. So we'll actually grab one of the patches that will mimic right here, and then we can just kind of, as I'm going through, you can kind of explain different pieces of the puzzle. So first thing is what we're going to do is we'll ungroup the design itself so they can kind of see like how the layers work, and maybe explain to them the difference of breaking down each of those layers in software.
Yeah, so in the software, you've got your 2 colors. You would have your first press or your first layer as your base piece, and then your next layer would be something that would be either inset, slightly smaller, or just something that you'd be able to fill in the gap or that empty space with.
Yeah, and what we normally call these two as well, as you can see, we have our, as Cortez said, the base layer here, which would be our layer 1, and then we also have the white layer here, which will be the text. Is sometimes this can be done on either creating an offset, which some of you might know, which is an outbound contour, or building your contour away from your design, or could be, in this case, is what is considered an inset, where we actually have, and let me go ahead and take off the dark mode here, we actually have the design, or part of the design is actually inlaid into the full contour of this design. So for a design in this, like this particularly, and I'm just kind of guessing based off this design, because this is one of yours, available in Leonardo Design Studio too. So if you are a Leonardo Design Studio user, you can definitely access a bunch of everything that was on the actual jacket, you can access in software too. And they're all commercial free, so feel free to use them. So for this first layer, I'm assuming that this is this contour is from here, correct?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So in software, when we start with our base design, what we're gonna do is we go down to our build contour or your own software's contour tool, okay? And what we're simply gonna do is change this into an editable contour, which means an SVG style image or something that can be cut out of either heat transfer vinyl or a pressure sensitive vinyl, as opposed to a print and cut, which typically would need a printer and registration marks and all that kind of stuff. So go ahead and we enable our cut contour. For this one, it's already a different color than our main layer that we're working with, or a front layer, which is all of our text. So I simply can go ahead and increase the offset amount, just like you see here. And just like that in real time, we've now duplicated and created that simple design or a simple patch that we're able to kind of make really efficiently, really quickly in software itself. Secondly to that, go ahead, Cortez, sorry.
No, you good, you good.
I'm just gonna say, secondly to that, let's say that we're taking a normal word like Caesar. You can create the same thing by simply following the same process. So for the word Caesar itself, I can go down to my Build Contours tool, and one thing that I would actually love for you to kind of explain to them is the difference in like layering multiple layers as opposed to the one layer, because we're gonna get into maybe a 2 or 3 layer press. So explaining that we build the one contour and then we build an offset from there.
Right. So with the layering, it's really garment dependent on how many layers you want to go with. I typically would go no more than 4 to 5 layers for a wearable garment or something like a t-shirt. A hoodie you could probably get away with maybe another layer because it's a little thicker, so you won't really feel as much of it on you. But if you're layering on non-wearables or something that you know is not going to get laundered, like a hat, I mean, you could really bump up the layers on that. I mean, I've got some hats with 13 to 15, almost 20 layers on them. And I mean,
this is actually a really good example of this one right here, and we can actually throw this on the overhead cam. So this is another one that you were talking about. Maybe you can talk about the structure of that one too.
yeah. So again, this is, I'm trying to get this in.
Yeah, here, I'll run over to the other camera so we can get a good angle. Just put it on the table and I'll focus in on it.
So what we have here is just a hat with, I want to say, 5 to 6 layers. And the last layer is actually what we call EasyWeed electric. So here you can see that there are a few layers, there's a few different colors in the background behind this last layer.
You can.
But again, with hats, things like that, you can really bump up the layers on it so you don't really have to worry about laundering or if it's going to fall off. And yeah, but another thing too with hats, what I try to tell people is the best way to wash your hat or cap is to just throw it in the dishwasher instead of a washing machine, because the washing machine is going to toss it around, throw it around, and even with a hat cage, you still risk the material itself having water come underneath it, being knocked around. But if it's in a dishwasher, it's stationary, it's not going to move, and it will get clean without having to worry about anything falling off.
Yeah, and if you do need any too, that's one great tip. If you need any laundering, you want any additional application methods or anything like that, you can always go to CaesarNA.com, where underneath each individual material, we give you all of that information too. And that was a great point that Cortez made of like, when you're going too many layers, remember this material also has a little bit of dimension and depth to it. So if you don't get the best press out of say the first, third, fifth layer that you're actually creating, sometimes that water can get inside of there and kind of cause early failure. So it also is a good test. I mean, it's a good thing to also test out these designs and try one for yourself of something simple on a cotton shirt or something that you don't mind. Maybe it's your test garment in your own shop, or if you have a business that maybe you have a material that you just kind of throw all your designs on to make them easier for you. Kind of test wash it on your own, and then it gives you the most, hopefully most bang for your buck. I do want to really quickly go into the chat though, because I do see that some people chiming in here from time to time, and I want to explain, or I want to answer any questions. So we have one. Can you explain what flock is and the difference in finish of other materials. There you go. That's from Maya herself too.
Hello, Maya.
Which we also have some Siser people in the comments too. So if you have any questions, they definitely can answer. But that's our boss, Maya. Hi, Maya.
So yeah, the StripFlock is a little bit, well, actually quite different than a lot of our other vinyls because this has a fabric or material feel to it where it's kind of feels like suede or felt. But again, this is a specialty material. It's got some dimension, allows you to layer as much as you want to before you get into laundering issues.
Yep.
But yeah, again, this is something that you could layer something onto, layer something underneath, and it's just a great material, a great vinyl overall.
And as you can see on screen too, that you can really get and understand some of that fuzziness or that felt-like feel to a StripFlock in this. And this is actually one of the hats that Cortez had made too, and this is one of those very heavily layered hats. So these are all individual layers of StripFlock to create this design that he had on there. But again, kind of comparing this to another heat transfer material, like let's say Diamond Dust, where Diamond Dust has more of a glittery, shimmery finish. So certain materials here at Siser have more of that solid color to them. Some of them have more of that felt or fabric-like finish, and then some of them have more of the glittery and shimmery and, as I like to say, the shimmer and shine. If you got any little kids that watch TV shows, all you parents know what I'm talking about. Shimmer and Shine's a great show. But all materials are not created the same. All materials have very distinct, different ways of making a design look good, enhancing the way it look. We've also done some really cool things with things like Brick 600 and EasyWeed Eco Stretch, which gives you a faux embossed look to a design. So there's a ton of different options. And you can already see by Cortez's jersey and by my shirt too, there's so many different finishes and ways that you can use it. But I think now let's get into maybe some application, kind of walk them through. So maybe give them on the overhead, let's show the jacket itself first, and then we'll kind of go from there.
Yeah, so on this jacket, just like the jacket that was presented at the beginning or the top of the show, you have StripFlock here, and we have about 3 layers deep. And it's just it's our StripFlock yellow, StripFlock black, and then our StripFlock white. And here, like you see, it is layered. You don't have to have everything layered within the design. You can just have specific parts of the design that is layered that can really enhance the overall finish and look of it. But again, we're only working with 3 layers deep here. Yeah.
Cool. All right, before we get into an application, we just have to highlight this one. Shell says, and I saw you in there saying hi, Shell, so hello. I have StripFlock Pro and electric and tool with me, and she's ready to go. So let's hop in maybe over to the heat press cam, and I'm just gonna make a quick adjustment to the main camera for us here so that we can kind of show step by step through the process and actually how to do it. Here, I'm gonna throw these right here for now, and I'll move the camera over. Alrighty, let's go this way.
All right.
Perfect.
Looking good, looking good.
Yep, I think we can see really good.
So, as you can see here, try to find the camera. On the back side, we just have the 3 colors, the white, then the black, then the yellow, and that's what we're gonna do for this right side of the jacket. We're gonna put another patch because I've been so good at track this year that I'm gonna throw another one on just because I want to.
Cortez, this is your camera too right here, just so you know.
Okay.
Yep.
So, we're gonna get our garment on. And I've already pre-pressed this before because there are applications on here, but I will pre-press again because it has been sitting for a few weeks. Let me find cover sheet. So I'll give this a good 10 seconds or so. It probably doesn't need that much, but because this is a thicker material or a thicker fabric, I'm trying to get as much moisture out as I can.
And just so you know too, yeah, like Cortez said, 2 big reasons why we do things like pre-press our garments. Not only to release all that moisture out, but when we have heavy cotton garments, as everybody in this class knows, you put those in the wash for the first time and what do? They start shrinking, right? So what we're trying to do as well with the pre-press is kind of start to pre-press or pre-shrink the garment down. So when we do have materials like, say, an EasyWeed that we can use 1 second in between each layer, we have a better opportunity and a more consistent opportunity for each layer to register properly, as opposed to having your garment slightly shrink in between each layer. So with something like a varsity jacket, it doesn't have as much shrinkage in it, but it's always great to do one. But Olivia asked Cortez, and this is a good question for you because I do not personally, do you pre-press your hats at all?
Yes.
Okay, so you pre-press?
Yes, same exact thing. You would pre-press your garments. Your hats are still made out of some kind of fabric material. So again, you want to pre-press your hat just to make sure there's no no moisture in it, and it just makes for an easier application. Your surface is already warm. It's going to take to the adhesive much better on the back of your vinyl. So yeah.
And also too, you know, for me, like most of the hats that I like to wear, I like wearing more fabric like thinner fabric hats. So for me, I don't spend as much time under a pre-press as I would with like maybe a normal trucker cap or something that has like a stiffer glued like fabric, like a cotton type fabric.
Right.
Yeah.
So this was my first press, and it's really just a tack, but because the material again is a little thicker than your thinner materials like EasyWeed, you tack it for about 5 or 6 seconds. You take your next material, line it up like so. And again, you'll press for about 5 or 6 seconds, just because if you're layering your material, you don't have to necessarily press for the full amount of time between each press, because then you're just going to cook the material and you're going to cook the adhesive underneath it, and it will have failure in the wash or, you know, later on down the road.
Yeah.
So again, press my second material for 5 to 6 seconds.
Why don't we do a quick just reveal of those 2 layers really fast, just so we can see what those 2 look like so far? Because I think the other part too that a lot of folks, when we're making these, and a lot of the feedback that we get from you guys is like, hey, we love the finished projects and we love the way that they end up turning out, but also the in-between steps is what they normally don't get. So this is great to kind of show you the start of this project, where that white layer was that base layer to the garment, and now even though this kind of blends in with the actual fabric itself, there is a layer of black on here as well, which will then show through once we get to this final step and actually apply that yellow layer, or should I say when Cortez gets to it, because he's been so awesome to do the application for this one. So thank you.
Yeah, no problem. And I know while people are watching, they're probably asking, well, you probably could have knocked out the black because your jacket is black. This I realize, and it probably would have made my job a lot easier, but if I really want to go for that patch feel, I'm going to layer up, you know, 2 or 3, maybe even 4 layers just to really get that patch feel that I want for this jacket. So
safe to say that by not using the fake knockout method, you're getting more depth and dimension, which is allowing that patch to be more 3-dimensional than it would be. Yeah, that was a great question, Shell, by the way.
So down to my last layer, and this is where you will press for the full 15 seconds because it is your last press, and you are trying to make sure that each layer beneath it gets the full adhesion time for the adhesive to fully set and cure.
Are you doing the front too? Are you going to do the caption? Okay, cool. Then we'll do that next too. So one thing as well that you notice Cortez doing, and I know a lot of people call me out on normal lives for it, of not using a cover sheet or when to use it and when not to use it. So I want to make something very clear as well. If your material is completely covered by the carrier by the carrier itself, here we'll see that back piece of there. There we go. That looks really nice, dude. Look, and then there you are. Little smile for the camera. Nice. All right, we'll head back to the other one. So if you do have multiple layers that you're working with, and the actual carrier itself, and I'll kind of show you on this one here, the actual carrier itself is covering the entire design. Typically, you don't always necessarily need to have a cover sheet. Now, we always recommend it to have some kind of cover sheet, that mainly to protect the platen of your heat press. However, once we start to get to, for this design, we start getting into that final layer, that top layer, as you can see, it is much smaller than that first layer we applied. So what we want to do is make sure that we have a cover sheet because we know that there's going to be raw material touching the heat press, which gives you even more opportunity to have something like adhesive spill over or potentially ruin the upper platen of your actual heat press itself.
Correct.
Alrighty, so you going on to the back side now? Or I mean the front side of it?
Yes. So I'm actually going to do
yeah,
the
where are you
sleeve.
putting it? Oh, perfect. That's a good, I like that.
I can show the other sleeve if you want. But...
Yeah.
So on my right sleeve, I just have my chevrons for, you know, the letters for each year that you letter in a sport, or if, I mean, this could be multiple sports, and you could have, you know, just your stacked icons or logos up top. But on my left side is where I'm going to put our captain's patch. And that, again, is just 2 layers of StripFlock and 1 layer of electric.
Nice. And just in case anybody in the chat did not catch on to that, Cortez says he's doing particularly good in track this year. I only see 3 chevron patches, and you've been out of school for at least 10 years now. So this is a problem, I'm thinking.
I mean, technically, if we're adding up letters, this would be number 7.
There we go. Okay, I'll take that. I'll take that. And okay, so we were doing a varsity jacket with craftable things in Delonda, and now I will add one of these patches. Awesome. Yeah, Delonda, great friend, obviously, of mine too, and of us here at Siser. But yeah, she's been doing some crazy fun stuff with some of these patch techniques. And then she also, by the way, Cortez, did a Delonda actually over at Crafting with Delonda did like a little group of people and did the brick keychain shoe. Yeah, so the whole crew kind of got involved with that. So it's always fun to hear those stories. So thank you so much.
So everybody's got some mini kicks.
Yep. Okay, so right now what are you doing? You're just lining up your
Yes, I actually looked at my other sleeve again because I'm a bit of a perfectionist. I have to make sure everything is aligned correctly and straight. And it could be just a hair off and I'm not happy. So I'm just trying to really make sure that everything is where it's supposed to be.
That's awesome. And while you're doing that too, I'm gonna actually hop back in front of the camera really fast.
Okay.
And grab what you're looking for.
Some heat tape.
Oh, heat tape. Out in the main area, or outside of there's a little black bin on the shelf where I keep like the cables and tape and stuff. Should be some heat tape right there. But I do want to show as well while we're here. So here at Siser, we have some awesome tools that you can use for everyday making of everything, and they're called heat pressing pillows. And what these do is this actually gives a little bit of cushion in between not only your upper platen of your heat press, but also the lower platen. And what we typically use these pressing pillows for is in the case that we have like a varsity jacket, you obviously have buttons that run directly down the center. You also have things like collars and sleeve hems and those types of items when we are creating things. So what a pressing pillow allows us to do is actually imprint into the actual pillow itself, but it keeps the entire surface that you're applying to very even and makes it easier. So in the case of a sleeve, we actually have some that are different sizes. Oh, and then Maya actually just said too, which thank you so much for reminding me, zippers are a big one, right? Most of those jackets have a zipper, or if you have a button-up type garment that maybe you're making a promotional item for a business, these are great opportunities to have things like pressing pillows. But this one is more shaped like a sleeve, so it really makes it a lot more simplistic for you to work with. Let me see if I can find that for you really quick, Cortez.
I may not need it.
Okay.
Because I didn't even think about a sleeve until you started.
The
pillow.
Pillow, yeah. All right, I have some in here though if you do end up needing it.
I think I'm good.
Okay, cool. That's the other benefit too. It saves you some time to tape if you use a pillow.
Yes.
All right, does anybody else have any other questions? Anybody that has questions at all about the process, about Siser materials, even if it doesn't have to do with just StripFlock or electric, if you have any type of questions at all, please feel free to drop them in the comments, and we will do our best to obviously answer them anytime we can.
Now, I know I mentioned heat tape, but if people don't know what that is, it actually helps me to make sure that my application runs smoothly. It keeps everything in place, and it doesn't actually stick to the material that I'm pressing on or the vinyl itself. So again, this is just some heat tape. It is my best friend for HTV applications. I mean, I do this for hats, shirts, jackets, pants, anything. So back to the
Cortez
press.
blows most of Siser's marketing budget in heat tape, just so you guys know.
Sorry, man. Sorry.
Just messing with it. Shell said I really want to learn how to make the jersey or a button down, do the button down jersey. So one great opportunity that you have as well, Shell, if you haven't already seen the Siser After Darks or any of the After Darks classes, but we are doing After Dark, meaning at the 7 o'clock hour, multiple times a month as well, where we're going very specific step-by-step through heat transfer materials, Leonardo, different processes, and I do know that the jersey is going to come up at some point in time for us to actually create it. So yeah, definitely make sure that you're looking at all Siser platforms for more info.
So, like I said, just a 3-layer application. My first 2 layers of StripFlock. So I've got my first one down. I'm going to throw my second one on.
See, Shell, that's the problem, is they don't ever tell me who's watching all of them, so thank you so much for hanging out. I appreciate you. They never give me that info in the back. They always just make me sit and wait and wonder. We do have, while you're pressing that one out, somebody did say off topic, which is okay, no problem. What's the secret to getting a good puff with Siser Easy Puff? That's actually, do you have any tips and tricks? Okay, cool.
I do. So with playing around with that material quite a bit, I've noticed that when you go to press your Easy Puff, you need to use either butcher paper or parchment paper as your cover sheet, Teflon, or even a t-shirt or like a pillowcase. They're recommended for some applications, but for that they actually hold in too much heat, which can actually cook your puff and it will not puff. So I actually, for the regular puff, I start with maybe a 2 or 3 second tack, because the recommended time is 10 seconds. If you press for 10 seconds and it doesn't puff, and you try to press it again, you're just completely cooking your material, and it's not going to puff at all. It's just going to actually deflate. It's going to look like regular vinyl at that point. So I actually start with maybe 2 or 3 second tack. If it doesn't puff enough, that leaves you 6 or 7 to 8 seconds to then continue to maybe 2 seconds more, 2 seconds more. That's what I recommend. That's what I've gotten the most consistent results with. That, and if you have the opportunity and you don't mind it, I actually recommend layering puff on StripFlock, because for some reason that has given me the most consistent result across the board, across the garment. So again, StripFlock, and then if you're not going to use StripFlock, 2 or 3 seconds to start, and then again, just 2 seconds, 2 seconds, so you get to your 10-second time.
And as Cortez was mentioning too, as part of that application process and why it works so well, going on top of StripFlock, what it's doing is it is taking away or reducing some of the heat from the lower platen of your heat press. So you're not baking the adhesive side of your material as much, because that actual StripFlock will absorb some of that heat. So it will give you a much more consistent and clean press. Actually, the jersey that Cortez is wearing right now that he actually made for our trade shows is done with puff and then also StripFlock as a base layer, which helps the EasyWeed Electric, which is the step that he's going to show you here next, helps that EasyWeed Electric really have a nice rounded shape, and it almost looks like a silicone patch when you see it, a really shiny silicone patch on the garment itself. So, all right, let's get in here.
All right, just lining it up.
Cool.
Tape down.
And what layer are you, or what material are you doing right now?
So this last layer is EasyWeed Electric, and I believe the color is...
Is it the white opal?
Pearl.
Oh, pearl, okay. So 2 layers of StripFlock Pro, and then 1 layer of EasyWeed Electric to finish this off.
Yep. And again, with your last press, just like any last press, you'll press for the full amount of time. Everything gets hit. Good to go.
Awesome. And then what we can do is we'll hop on the overhead, kind of show them where we're at in the process right now, and then we'll hop right back onto the press here in a second.
Gotcha.
Show you guys all of the, or the next step in the process itself.
So, do you mind if I throw out another tidbit?
Yeah, go for it, go for it.
If you're using EasyWeed Electric, I suggest, again, using maybe StripFlock underneath it, because if you do, actually, I don't want to get into that yet. I'll get into that after we press this last.
Okay, you're gonna press the last one
Yes.
first? See, sometimes we feel like we're giving too much info too soon, so.
I think I'm just going too fast.
That's all right, that's all right.
So,
Cool.
and actually, let me flip this
Yeah, flip it around for you.
So what we have here is just a 3-color, first 2 layers of StripFlock, and my last layer is electric. And now, of course, you could say, we're done, this looks good, it's great. but you could actually take this a step further and a very cost-effective step and actually turn this into something that's more elevated and gives you a much more unique finish.
And what could that possibly be? You got any fun stuff back there to show us?
I do. So, this patch has actually been pressed already. You can't really tell, but there is a texture that has been pressed into it, and that is done with a piece of mesh.
Nice.
And this is probably actually considered tulle, but again, you can use mesh, tulle, and I think this is window or screen door mesh. This is
Just like a fabric mesh.
yeah, just a fabric mesh. And Stephanie actually mentioned a good alternative to a mesh would be like a lace. Some lace have designs or patterns in it so that when you go to press, the actual design or pattern is impressed into that last layer and you'll be able to see it.
And I know too for sure that one person in here, Shell, she's got her materials ready to go and she's wanting to do this along with us too. So just to kind of recap what we've done so far, we've applied all of our StripFlock and our electric layer full time. So we're good, and now what we're gonna do after this, Shell, is we're gonna lay down that lace or the tulle or the fabric mesh or screen door material, whatever you decide to use. And then from that point on, now you'll be able to get this effect because you'll be actually applying that mesh directly onto the top of that EasyWeed electric layer. Now, Cortez, while you're pressing this out, are there any other materials outside of just the electric that you've been able to apply over top of StripFlock that might give you a better press? We know the puff is one of them, but is there any other ones that you've experimented by layering on top of StripFlock?
I know a material that actually gives you a really good looking finish on top of StripFlock is metal or holographic because you get the contrast in the different finishes. One's very matte, one's very flat, and the other one's very shiny, glistening. Yes.
Yep.
Trying to think of another material. Again, puff and metallic puff is very consistent, looks very good on StripFlock. Brick on StripFlock is pretty good.
But being that StripFlock you can layer on top of it, it makes it really, really easy, and it kind of opens up that spectrum of not only colors but materials you can use throughout the process. Cool.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of anything else off the top of my
Some
head.
will come to you as you're pressing. It's no
Yeah.
big deal. We'll get to the press. So one's gonna pop up. I know it. I know it at some point.
So again, taking this piece of mesh or tulle, you layer this right over the top. And like Pat mentioned before, if you don't have any other designs around your main design that you're going to use this mesh with, you don't really need a cover sheet. You can just press right down. And for me, the sweet spot I found is about 8 to 10 seconds, and that gives you the best impression of the mesh into your last press of vinyl. So take it off.
You want to do the reveal on the overhead?
Sure.
Cool. See if we can get a good one. If not, I can bring this camera in a little bit closer and we'll be able to really see it well. Let's see, let's get this one on really quick.
Oh, wait.
No, you're good, you're good. You can peel, I'll follow you.
So, just like that, you have a now textured last press, which is the electric, which completely changes the look.
There we go, we're getting there. There we go.
Cortez, Olive's wondering, what was the material that you used during the AC Expo this weekend?
So that was actually a combination of the materials, or yes, it's a combination of 4 different materials, and it is the exact same thing that you're seeing on Patrick's shirt and my jersey, and that is, in order, StripFlock, metallic puff, EasyWeed electric, and then holographic as the outline. So, but even then, I could have went a step further with this, and just like Patrick with his shirt, we could have threw some mesh over the top of this, and it would have gave you a really nice, intriguing finish.
Very cool. All right, so we've hit a lot of points today, not only showing you how to create something with StripFlock, And I think what we'll do as well, if you're not already a part of the Siser North America support group, head over to Facebook, find the Siser North America support group. Let us know that you found us over in the Michaels class. We'll definitely let you into the group. There's a ton of like-minded creatives, but let's get a good, solid photo of that. We'll post it out in the group tomorrow. So give you guys till tomorrow to join the group. So tonight, or even if you see it tomorrow, you see the post on over in the group from Cortez or myself. We'll get a real solid, tight shot of this because it really does look super, super incredible when you see the finish. And it's such a subtle thing when you see it done in a class, but when you see it in person, or as all of you guys have been to a show, if you've ever been to a trade show and you watch us press these out at trade shows as well, it's a really awesome, incredible finish. And it's just a way to enhance, you know. You can go and buy this already pre-done for much more expensive than you can create. And that's why we're all here, right? We all want to be like-minded creatives. We all want to, you know, find a community of people that are all helping each other, whether building businesses, honing in your hobby or your craft, or just having fun. You know, sometimes it's just having fun and it's more therapeutic for us. So regardless of where you're at, you got Cortez and I here to kind of walk you step by step through the process. But I think we've gotten through a ton of great information today.
I saw the name that said, I think it was like, can you repeat the last thing? And I recognize the
It was
name.
Olive Cortez.
Missed that one.
She was wondering what was the last fabric that you used.
Oh, the last fabric that you used, last material that you used.
Oh, EasyWeed Electric.
Yeah.
But hello, Olive Mason. I do remember you from the AC show, so thank you for coming by.
We were just talking right before this class. It was always fun when we have people come to trade shows, especially if they know who we are, they've seen us do these classes, and it's always cool to have you guys come and check new stuff out and get excited about it, or, you know, coming back to a show and saying like, hey, I'm coming back and seeing you. There we go. My daughter was talking to you about your hair. Daughter was talking to you about your hair? Nice.
It's a nightmare. I can't help it.
Do we have any other questions before we actually wrap up the class here today? We'll give everybody just a couple of minutes to chime in. If you do have any questions, or if you have any, you know, things that you need kind of help working through the process, we have just a couple minutes left, and we'll answer those for you. That's so funny at the HC show. Nice. And also, that's actually a really good plug, I think, for people in here, because you're fairly new-ish to the trade show world and going to trade shows. But if you guys aren't familiar, as other educational opportunities out there, there are literally trade shows every single month, sometimes multiple each month, from the different entities that actually hold on trade shows. So you can go to a convention center, and you can see all companies like ours there, or large format equipment and all that, and you can actually see us in person and come up and hang out with us. We can show you applications, and we can also just kind of teach you one-on-one. It gives us a really good opportunity to see you guys in person. So maybe you can kind of give us a lowdown of some of the shows you've been as we're seeing if anybody has any questions. But some of the lowdown of like things that you've seen at a show, maybe some new things that you've even been able to learn being newer to the trade show world.
I guess a few things that I'm starting to really catch on to within the trade show world is just the reaction and the energy that I'm receiving from people who either know about us or don't know about us. It's something that it's a new experience, but it's something that I'm taking in stride. I'm taking it all in with each show, and I'm just trying to use that for my next show as just ammo and just being able to talk and answer questions and yeah.
Absolutely. I did see a couple questions here. Come to San Antonio. I'm actually looking right now currently at our trade show calendar because I do believe that we have some that are close to you. And then, Shell, I do believe we have some coming to Tinley Park. So just on the outskirts of Chicago. But the Tinley Park Convention Center and Hotel, that's normally where Decorated Apparel Expo Tinley Park is. And I'm just trying to see if I can get you a date. But for somebody that said that they're in San Antonio, we do have a show coming up. A show that just happened in Texas not too long ago over in Irving, but I do believe that we're coming back to that area at some point in time this year. Oh yeah, the Applique Getaway is in July over in Irving, Texas, so a great opportunity to see some of us there. And then it looks like sometime in August will be that Tinley Park show. So you guys can always find us at all the major trade shows, at least a representative of Siser hanging out in our distributors booths, or usually for the bigger shows, so ISA, The International Sign Association show is coming up very soon, so anybody in the Las Vegas area, or if you want to have a fun trip to Las Vegas and come hang out with us, Las Vegas Convention Center, we will be there April 22nd to the 25th?
I believe so.
22nd through the 23rd to the 25th is the show, and then we'll be there actually the 22nd to the 25th. So there's multiple ways throughout the year to see us. If you ever have any questions, you can follow us on all social platforms at Siser North America everywhere. So we have Siser Official, that's our Italian branch. Siser North America is us here in the States. So you can always get information there. You can always check our website at www.siserna.com, SISERNA.com. We'll give you some great information, or you can always reach out to us at info@siserna.com via email. And I know if Maya's in here as well, if you don't mind just putting in the info@siserna email, you guys feel free to ask away. Say, hey, are you coming to a city near me? We'll give you the whole show rundown that's going to be around your area, or what might be when we come back to that area if we've already been there. Can you use wire mesh on the heat press to get that same look? Absolutely. Well, absolutely.
I would see why not.
Yeah, I mean, now don't get me wrong, certain materials may hold or absorb more heat or heat up faster. But again, this is why one of the big things that we stress quite a bit as far as actually doing these applications, testing, guys. Test your environment always. If you're trying something new, even if you're trying a method you see from us, start small, test it on something small, make sure it's gonna work in your environment so that you don't end up spending money on a jacket to then press all of these out to realize that you actually had them all pressed incorrectly or something didn't work out for you. So always find a small, and this is actually perfect that Cortez brought it, but simple. This is just a torn off piece of a t-shirt to kind of test this method or this process out. And there you go. Now we're not wasting a whole garment. We're just using what we have already available. And you know as much as we know, because we make stuff all the time, we all got mistake garments. So we have plenty of testing garments in our rooms, and I know we're all hoarding them together, and that's okay. I see Shell even saying, yep, we all know. We all know. So anyway, any other info, any other things that we forgot, you think?
I don't think so. I'm
Okay.
trying to think, but I don't think so. I think we covered most of what we needed to.
All right, well, I am sorry, we are sorry that this class is now officially coming to an end. But thank you guys so much once again for just being awesome, sitting in these classes, being able to learn from us, and allowing us the opportunity to teach you. A big shout out to Cortez. This is actually his first Michaels class, so I'm gonna give him his props right now. He did an awesome job, so definitely share some love in the comments for Cortez as well. But again, if you want to find out anything that you need to know about Siser, follow us everywhere at Siser North America. We actually just had a YouTube video go live at 7 o'clock that premiered, so you got it. Ooh, Shell, I see that. I see that bow in the background there. Nice. I love it. I love it. But if you have any questions further, you can always reach out to us again, info@siserna. It's in the chat, so you have it. And, we hope to be able to teach you a thing or two pretty soon.
Yes,
yeah?
for sure.
All right, man. Thanks, Cortez. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right. We will see you guys next time, and you have a fantastic rest of your evening. Bye, guys.